Briggs of My So Quilty Life. Welcome back to my channel. I am so happy you're here. Today in this video, we're going to be going over a tutorial for blocks 5 and 6 of the Flower Shop Block of the Month. So go ahead and grab your pattern and your fabric and let's go ahead and get started. I thought it would be better if I combined both of the blocks kind of like they are in the pattern. If you look at the pattern, you'll notice that block 5 and block 6 both have the little tulip unit on the top, but then the bottom of the block is different. So I decided to go ahead and combine this tutorial just to make it a little easier on you and me. Okay, so go ahead, grab your pattern, get your fabrics cut out, and I will meet you on the top camera and we will get started. Okay, as you can see, I have already gone ahead and made most of these units and blocks. Just because we have already learned most of these techniques in our previous blocks, there's no sense in me going over exactly how to do each one. But as you can see here, I did leave this one unassembled so we can at least walk through something in this video. So if you look at your pattern, you're gonna notice that you're gonna start first with making these top units for blocks 5 and 6. These are these little tulip units, and guys, I apologize, but this is probably the most detailed and most challenging block of the entire quilt. So if you can confidently tackle this, you're going to be able to confidently tackle the remainder of the quilt with no problems. But I wanted to get started with walking you through really quickly how it all goes together instead of doing a complete step-by-step tutorial, because as I just mentioned, we have gone over how to do corner squares and things like that, which are in this block and actually in most of the blocks. So on step 1 in all the patterns, you know, it's draw a diagonal line on the back side of your fabric squares for your corner square units. And I don't do that because I use diagonal seam tape. So go ahead if you need to draw your diagonal lines and do that now. Our next step for step 2, we're actually making all of these units right here. And let me pull this one out. We'll pick on this one. I left him unassembled just for this. So for step 2, we are just assembling our fabric L squares to our fabric M rectangle. Now, you're gonna have to imagine that these are not assembled together. So in your pattern, you'll see that you have a LM unit and an RM. So this is your LM unit and your RM. All you're gonna do is make sure that you assemble your fabric L squares on opposite corners on both of them so that it creates this adorable little tulip here. For step 3, you're going to assemble your LM and your RM. That's your left M and your RM. And you're going to make 2 in each print, and that is because you're making 2 of these blocks right here. You can see that right here is what we're making. I'm going to walk you through how to make it right here. So go ahead and get that done. One thing you definitely need to make sure of is when you are assembling your LM and your RM that you make sure that you get those little points right there lined up. So that is one focus point on this unit. Also, don't forget that each step has what your unit should measure. So after you assemble each step, measure your unit and trim off any little bits that you might have. Okay, so now we can move on to step 4. Now, step 4 might be a little complicated to show because I've already done all of it, but it's no different than any leaves units we've already made before. You are just assembling, I'll pick on this one right here. You're assembling these 2 units right here. You're gonna have an LN, so a left in and an RN. The only difference is they are opposite. So if you see here on your LN, you have a fabric L square at the top right and bottom left. But on your RM units, you have a L square on your top left and bottom right. So just pay close attention to the pattern. There are several different styles you have to make, so just pay close attention. And if you're using the fabric that I used in the pattern, you should have no problem. But I got to experience how challenging it could be with working with different fabrics. So just go slow and double check before you sew everything that you have the right piece that you need. Okay, so we're gonna move on to step 5. So for step 5, 5, I'm just walking you through this unit, and then the other units I've already assembled, but I still will walk you through them. So for step 5, you need 1 fabric D rectangle, which is this one. You need 1 flower unit. You need an LN unit, and then you need a fabric G. Now I wanted to pick on this guy for a second because I wanted to walk you through the pressing arrows. Now if you've been with my patterns, you know that I love to include those little pressing arrows when I like to combine all of my steps together. But I wanted to walk you through, just in case you were new, of how that works. So you'll see an arrow with a 1. That means you're going to assemble these 2 pieces together first. Number 2, you're assembling this to those pieces. And then number 3, you're assembling your fabric D. So that's how it's all going to go together. So I will go ahead and assemble mine later at the end of this video, but I do want to walk you through the next steps. So step 6, you are making this bottom left unit. So again, there are a lot of different pressing arrows here. There are a total of 7. So just go step by step according to the pressing. But what you're going to do first is you're going to need a fabric E, 2 fabric Ks, which are these top rectangles on this leaf. You need a fabric H square, and you need a fabric F rectangle, which is right here. And you need 1 matching O rectangle to your LN and your RN unit. And what you're going to do following the steps is step 1, you're going to assemble the RN to the fabric H square. Then you're going to assemble the fabric F rectangle to that. And then you will assemble that to fabric O. You will then assemble your fabric Ks to the top and bottom of your LN unit, and then you will assemble your fabric E. After you've done that, you'll assemble all of that to that little stem right there, which is fabric O, and here you have. So just pay close attention when you are assembling. There is nothing that needs to line up here. Obviously, you want to make sure that your seams are straight when you are assembling this, but luckily there's nothing that you really have to line up. Now you could try to make sure those are aligned right here, that point in that seam, but it's not critical. So do not beat yourself up over it if you do not have that. Don't forget to measure after each unit to make sure it measures correctly. So for step 7, this is our top middle unit here. You are just assembling your fabric G to your LN, and then that unit to this flower unit, and then fabric J right here. Simple, easy peasy. You do have to make sure that those line up right there. So you can see I'm doing pretty good, luckily. Doing pretty good right there. So that is the only place that those need to line up. Okay, moving on. I'm just gonna set everything aside there. Moving on to step 8. So for step 8, it looks a little funky because we have 1 leaf going that way and 1 that way, but I promise in the pattern this is how it looks. So first you're going to assemble your fabric H right here to your RN unit, okay? After that, you're gonna assemble your fabric I rectangles to that, and then assemble all of that to your fabric O. And then coming on this side, you're going to assemble your fabric G to your other RN unit, and then you're going to assemble it all together. Again, this one is kind of like the first one where there's not anything that actually has to line up, so don't beat yourself up over it. But if you like the challenge, you can try to make sure that those line up there and there. And in the pattern, you will notice that they should, but don't beat yourself up over it if they don't. All right, let's move that guy to the side. See, this is easy. Just go slow. I made all of these this morning and I just went slow. I made sure when I was piecing any corner square that I wasn't sticking over the edge too much. I just went extremely slow and made sure with my pressing that I wasn't pushing and pulling and I was actually pressing. And then I trimmed up after every unit, and I had a little bit of trimmings that I needed to trim off, but for the most part, it was super simple and went together perfectly. Okay, so for step 9, you need your flower unit J and D, and there's really no order that you need to press in here. You can assemble this side first or that side, but that is all for this top right unit. Okay, and then the last one, step 10, this one is also going to look a little funky like it did earlier. What we need to do is similar, it's just a little different. You can tell here, it's a little different what you did here versus here. Okay, and right here, you're going to first assemble your fabric Ks right here, fabric K rectangles to your RN unit. And then from there, you'll assemble fabric E right here, to that, and then you'll assemble it to O. Then you will assemble fabric G to your other RN, and then you will assemble it all together. And again, here, those can line up. If you can make them hit those points, fine. If not, it's not a big deal. Okay, now we're gonna move on to step 11. So for step 11, we're just putting together that bottom unit with all of these units we just made. So we're gonna go ahead and lay out according to our pattern. You're gonna have to just imagine this is pieced together. So what we're going to do is also make sure that we have, let's see, everything correctly. So before you sew together, this is what we're going to do. You also need 2 fabric piece. And again, your fabric piece should match this leaf that it's going to be attached to, just like this. This is your moment to really check out and make sure things are good. So we know this is good by looking at the pattern. We know that those are the 2 same leaves. They go the right way. And then we know that these are the same leaves and these are the right ones for the pattern. So the only thing to do now is really assemble these together here, those together, and then assemble those to our fabric piece. Now, you do have to make sure some things line up good, and I'm going to show you really quick on the one that's already assembled. So just imagine this isn't pieced yet, but right here. So you want to make sure that middle seam of that flower really hits the middle of this stem on all of them. That is the first thing you want to make sure lines up. Secondly, right here and here, those need to line up. So where is it? Right here and here, and right here and here. It looks like that's all. Now, these ones are not as critical. I prefer to have my middle seams matching up right here to this stem than I do those lining up. So you might be able to notice that just off just a little bit right there, but not too bad. So after you've done that, you're gonna press towards your fabric P rectangles. Then you're gonna piece that top unit right here. So that top unit is just using the remaining 2 flower units, your fabric A, C, and B, and you can honestly assemble these and press them in any way. And after that, you're just going to assemble that right here to the top and press towards that top unit. So once you've done that, this is what you should have right here. So adorable. I just think it is so cute, and I really love these fabrics. They're so pretty, so pretty. I'm so excited to have a very bright and colorful quilt. Okay, so you're gonna make 2 of these blocks. Remember, go slow. Don't be intimidated by the small pieces or how many pieces there are. What I did is I assembled first all of my little flower units, and then I pressed them, assembled them, trimmed them down, set them aside. I then did my leaf units right here, which are the L, N, and the RN units, and then I focused on each step alone. Normally I would chain piece everything, but I wanted to make sure that one, I was matching up my correct leaves with the proper color in the unit, and then I just wanted to make sure everything measured out correctly because I did not want this to look wonky or lopsided or anything, especially not for this video. How embarrassing will that be? Okay, so my next step is to assemble all of these together so that I end up with 2 of these units, and then I am going to move on to the top part. I think I said bottom last time. This is the bottom. We will move on to the top next. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside, and we are going to move on to the block 5 and 6 top. So I've already gone ahead and assembled all of this because these techniques are exactly what we've already used in most of our videos already. But I thought I would just walk you through each one. So we're going to start with block 5 top. So for block 5 top, you're starting, obviously, step 1 with drawing a diagonal line on the back of your squares, but step 2 is where we're going to be making the LM, and then step 3, the RM. So I broke these up into 2 separate steps because these are different sizes. So you're going to have your fabric L squares on the top and 1 fabric H square on the bottom of your fabric M rectangles. Now you're going to want to make sure that you do a left side and a right side. So here we have them opposite. So we have an LM paired with an RM, and they're the same colors. And you want to make sure that you are lining up good right there in that middle. I'm pretty good. I think I'm pretty good. Yep. Okay. So you just want to make sure that you do line up right there. Now, if you don't, it's no big deal. This is your quilt. If you don't care if they line up, totally fine. Okay, so that was step 2 and 3. So for step 4, you're assembling these 2 RM and LM units together to make your little flower units. And you are going to press open in that center. Okay, the next thing to do is take your 3 flower units that you made, and you're going to be assembling fabric C, fabric K, and fabric J. So it's really just this inside piece right here. So we've got 1 flower unit, 2, 3, fabric C, fabric J, fabric K. Now you're gonna look at the pressing arrows, and we've got pressing arrow 1 here, 2 here, and then 3 and 4, and then the last one is assembling fabric J on top. Okay, once we have done that, we can move on. So just look at the top unit up here, and it should match what is happening in step 6. So you're just assembling these 2 like little hangers for the hanging basket. So those are fabric O and fabric D, and you're just assembling those to your flower unit. Now, the next step is super simple. You're just taking your fabric in for step 7, fabric in, and doing the corner squares with fabric L on the bottom. After that, you're assembling it all together. So you're assembling your hanging unit, which is this top unit up here with the flowers, and you're assembling your N unit, 2 fabric G rectangles right here, and 1 fabric E, and pressing towards the pressing directions in the pattern. And here you have your adorable top of block 5. Okay. See guys, this is actually easy. So I said in the beginning that this is probably one of the most challenging blocks, but the bottom part with all the flowers was the challenging part. This part's simple. So now we're going to be moving on to block 6 top, and this is where you either have hand embroidery and it says open, now come on in. This is part of the window of the flower shop. So you either have your panel, which I have here, or you will use hand embroidery to embroider this. But I love how easy it was to use the panel. In my first quilt, I did do the hand embroidery, and it looks just as beautiful. Okay, so for this one, you're gonna have to imagine here that that's not all pieced, but you're gonna take your fabric A, which is actually your sign, and you're gonna need 2 fabric R, so those sides are fabric R, and 2 fabric Q, so the top and bottom of this. And then you're gonna assemble fabric R to the sides and fabric Q to the top and bottom, and press out towards fabric Q and R. The next step, we're gonna be making these cute little banners. So you're gonna take 2 fabric Ps, so 2 fabric Ps, and assemble them together, press open. And then our favorite corner squares, you're gonna be putting the fabric I corner squares on the bottom and then pressing towards fabric I. After that, you're going to assemble your fabric B rectangles right here to the banner units, then assemble those to the sign, and then after that, you're assembling fabric F. So that's exactly where I am. I am just caught up enough for this step to walk you through the rest of the pattern. But for step 12, we're going to be taking our bottom units, so this unit here, and one of our top units right here, and you're going to be assembling them together. So you're just assembling this top to this bottom and pressing according to the instructions. Okay, so I'm going to show you again what that would look like. So it's the same block with this. So for block 5, again, you're taking this top part and assembling it to the bottom here. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble all those pieces up there and assemble my blocks, and then I will meet you back here to show you my final blocks. Okay, I just finished and they look so good. I have to show you. Okay, so here is my block 5. Isn't it adorable? I just love how cute this is. Okay, so there's block 5. And block 6, I just love it. Oh, it's so cute. I just love it. I keep saying that, but it's so cute. Okay, so now a couple things we need to do. We need to mark off on our progress tracker that we have finished our blocks 5 and 6 on our month 3. And then we need to put our little block marker on each one so we can stay organized. I really love using these this year. It was a great addition. So happy I thought of that. Just kidding. Oh my goodness. But it's been really nice when I have to like either photograph something or I need to look back at something that I know which block was which, because last time on our last block of the month we didn't have these and I had to like flip in my patterns to see what each block was. Okay, so we got our little markers on here. Also, don't forget to mark out your bingo square if you finished a month 3 for blocks 5 and 6. I cannot believe we are halfway over with the block of the month. That is just so crazy to me. I cannot believe it. We just started. I feel like we just started, what, in November? And here we are in January on month 3. Oh my gosh. So you'll have to join me for our next tutorial going over blocks 7 and 8 for month 4 on February 14th. That's Valentine's Day. So fun. But if you're new here and have no idea what the Flower Shop block of the month is, it is a 6-month block of the month that started in November, and it's this big experience. I give you lots of goodies. It's interactive. We have live calls, we have tutorials, and we have our first Zoom meetup at the end of this month so we can all share our progress and see each other's blocks and meet each other. But it's just this fun block of the month experience that I host with every fabric collection. This one is actually for my Dainty Meadow, so I'm going to link more information in the description that you can check out all about Flower Shop and hopefully join us. I know there are still some shops with some Dainty Meadow kits, or you can sew from your stash like I did. I used Cali & Co. and Strawberry Lemonade. I mixed them together and they created something beautiful. But be sure to check out the description below for more information. Also, don't forget, if you are sewing along, to use our special hashtag Flower Shop BOM on social media in your post when you post your blocks, and then tag me so I can see them and share them. So this was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed making blocks 5 and 6. I'll be back with another tutorial next month. I'll see you later. Bye guys.